public enemy #1 for Oklahoma.
Boy, he beat him twice last year, his former team. Meanwhile, on the other side, Nigel Pack, one of the best scorers in college basketball, averaging better than 23 a game over his last 3.
Yeah, he's an absolute flamethrower from deep. He makes over 3 3-pointers a game. That's 3rd best in the SEC.
First trip to Rupp Arena for Oklahoma since Stacey King was just a young buck. That was 1987. It was a 1-point walk-off win for Kentucky at the buzzer on March 1st on Senior Day. And we are off and running in the Bluegrass. Tip control by Oklahoma, 500 on the season. Just 1-8 in league play after winning its league opener. And Owe against his former team knocks it out of Pack's hands and out of bounds. Sooners come edge averaging 83 points a game. Pretty good clip for the program over the last 6 or 7 years. But they've been 1 shot short, 1 possession short, 1 defensive stop short in too many games in conference play this season.
And a really good backcourt between Pack and Brown. They average over 30 a game. So that's where Kentucky must contain Oklahoma.
Sooners will have 5 on the shot clock on his opening possession. Oklahoma coming off of another blown lead in the loss to Texas and Red River. They led for 30 minutes and 21 seconds. They led by 14 in the first half, but fell to the Longhorns. Now 2 on the shot clock. Pack contested 3. You expect all of them to go in. He's the 3rd leading active scorer in college basketball. And off the offensive rebound, Sooners do that really well. Tay Davis with the second chance bucket. Here's a look at the starters for Kentucky. Malachi Moreno has been a godsend on the inside for the Cats without the use of Jaden Quaintance, who's only played 4 games this season. Andrea Yelovich has started the last handful as well. And the 3 good for Denzel Aberdeen.
And that shot is going to be there for Kentucky. Oklahoma really struggles inside the paint. They are last in the SEC at defending the 2. They want Kentucky to beat them from 3. The Wildcats do so right there.
Sooners 1 of 7 in college basketball to have the same starting 5 every game this season. Moreno with the block. And Reed going to work in the paint. Here's Pack. 5 on the shot clock. And Davis with the fadeaway. Wes, thank you. We stay in the Bluegrass. We welcome those of you who just watched the Louisville game. Tom Hart alongside Dane Bradshaw. Oklahoma inside Rupp Arena for the first time since 1987. And the Sooners trying to snap an 8-game losing streak. Meanwhile, Kentucky has figured it out. The Cats have won 6 out of 7. A little sloppy on this offensive possession for Kentucky. Otega Owe, the former Sooner, leaves it short. Hit off the front of the rim, so they get another chance. And a sky-high rebound by Mohamed Wagee. Here comes Xavier Brown. He gets a bump and will go to the free throw line. Well, Otega Owe isn't just hot over the last 3 games, over 23 points per game in that span, but the SEC preseason player of the year single-handedly took down his former team, the Sooners, twice last year. Once in Norman and once at the SEC tournament in Nashville.
Yeah, one of the greatest performances I've seen since covering the SEC, what he did on the road in the clutch against his former team. And right now it's about this season for Owe, and he's playing his best basketball of the year, over 20 a game in SEC play, and one of the most exciting athletes really on the court. When he gets it going in transition, there's no stopping him. You've got to stop him there if you're Oklahoma.
Xavier Brown knocks down the second. This is his 2nd game inside Rupp. He came here with Billy Lang, St. Joe's team, a couple of years ago. His first college start came in this building. He had 17 in a game that St. Joe's stretched to overtime against the Cats. Aberdeen hit a 3 early for Kentucky. And here's Yelovich from the corner. And he rolls one home.
Well, he can really be a huge weapon for this Kentucky offense. He was 6 of 27 from 3 in the non-conference, but 6 of 14 in conference play. He's starting to see a big rim.
This Kentucky team went through a lot. They're missing 3 key players due to injury right now. At least one loss for the season, but they have reinvented themselves throughout. Nice spin and finish. Home crowd wanted a walk on Darion Reed. And Oklahoma with a 2-point advantage here early.
Getting off to good starts has not been Oklahoma's problem.
Oweh fouled on the drive. There's a Kentucky team that is 12-1 against unranked opponents. The only loss came to Missouri. Played college basketball here at Kentucky, played in the NBA, now coaching his alma mater, just one of 5 of those at the Division I level.
Tom, what a job he has done in terms of handling adversity, keeping this locker room together. There's not another place in the SEC that's under a greater microscope after losses, after injuries, second guessing this and that, and they have blocked out the noise. And you wondered, could he keep them together? Could he rally the troops? Did he have a tough enough personality? All the things you could possibly hear and the negativity, and all they've done is keep it out and bounce back, evidenced by that massive road win at Arkansas, where the Razorbacks are as tough as anybody to beat on their home court.
Oweh goes 1 of 2 from the line. Here comes OU the opposite way. And Pack tried to fit it in. It was kicked by Yelovich. Talking with Mark Pope at shoot around today, he said, listen, we are not who we thought we were going to be. Injury is obviously a major part of that, but I'm happy with where we are. They had to reinvent themselves. Roles got redefined in many ways. He spoke specifically about Denzel Aberdeen, came here to be an off guard. Now he is the point guard of this team, and he will be the rest of the season. Davis with the step through, and it will take a victory lap before going home. Tate Davis suddenly has 6. He averages 12 per game.
Yeah, he's off to a terrific start. Davis is also always going to guard the other team's best player. That's why you see him matched up with Oweh early.
Porter Moser has gone to his bench early. Dayton Forsythe off the bench, 1 of 2, and Yelovich with another 3. His second of the game.
I'm telling you, he could completely change his Kentucky offense, where they like to spread you out, they like to backdoor you. You add a pick and pop, stretch 5-man that can shoot the 3. Watch out.
Elliot Thompson with the feed, and Jones is fouled hard. He'll be at the free throw line. Pardon me, Tate Davis, when we return. Oklahoma and Kentucky tied at 10. They use nicknames liberally around here, from runs to the unforgivable.
They get up off the mat, and again, I think it's the leadership of Coach Pope. And I do think those injuries, while their ceiling isn't as high as it was when you lose guys like Quaintance, but at the same time, it has forced guys to be like, this is your role. And you mentioned Aberdeen before the break. Look, was he planning to be the 2 guard? Yes, but now he's the 1. And he knows he's the 1. That's not a temporary point guard spot. It is permanent. And those types of roles have been filled now to where everybody knows where they're at, and this team's starting to form an identity.
So rare miss from the free throw line for Tate Davis. Yet, speaking of identity, if they had a digital business card, it would probably glitch every time you tried to scan it. Who is this team? And now as we get into the second half of league play, still, what will this team be? What a start for Tate Davis of Oklahoma. He's got 7 of the Sooners' 11. Oklahoma's shown a little bit of three-quarter court pressure. Dayton Forsythe getting some run early in the first half. Porter Moser telling us at shoot-around today, we've got to be deliberate about getting some rest for our backcourt, specifically Xavier Brown and Nigel Pack. And so he has done just that. Colin Chandler for 3. And Garrison knocks it out of bounds. Should be Oklahoma. No, it'll stay with Kentucky. Porter Moser says you got to grab it and grab it. This is an Oklahoma team that is living on the margins. Made the tournament last year. The year before, they were in prime position going into Champ Week, predicted as a 9 seed. Joe Lenardi was telling me today they should have made it. They probably at least should have made it over the bad Virginia team that ended up getting in. But a bunch of bid thieves hit during Champ Week, and Oklahoma was on the outside looking in 2 years ago. Aberdeen's got a hoist. Got it! Denzel Aberdeen with his second 3 of the game.
And Coach Moser's just sick because they've done everything right. They have kept Kentucky outside the 3-point line, made the Wildcats rely on the 3, and all Aberdeen and Yelovich have done is knock them down.
Jeff Walkwall in the game as well for Oklahoma. Here's Pack with the driving kick. And Davis going to work on Yelovich. Nifty move.
Man, has he come to play? That's 9 already for Davis, who can score, but more known for his defense. Again, this is an Oklahoma team that comes out inspired, ready to fight and play. They just have not been able to put 40 minutes together.
Ilya Tontsev got knocked down, got to get back up. Chandler 0 for 2 now. And Ilya Tontsev, who joined the team at semester break from Siberia, has the rebound and will lead him the other way. Maybe he could have brought some of his road clearing skills with him from Siberia to Lexington.
You don't like your parking lots?
I like them like my drinks, and they are on ice. Loose ball corralled by Aberdeen. Chandler again.
Well, Kentucky's got to penetrate because they've been settling. Yes, they've been hot from 3, but 7 of their 9 shots have been from deep.
Whew. That one into row 2. And a Kentucky turnover. Sooners right there with Kentucky. It's a Kentucky team that turns it over about 10 times a game. And Porter Moser is so dialed in to getting an advantage when it comes to possessions. He's starting Mohamed Wagee over Ilya Tontsev right now, even though Ilya Tontsev will play more minutes because Wagee is so good at winning the opening tip, and they did it again tonight.
Analytically, your odds go up if you can win the tip. It might be by just a fraction, but if it gives you that extra possession, which the studies show, if you win the jump ball, you tend to get an extra possession in the game despite some of the back and forth possession arrows. And he said, look, that can be the difference between winning and losing, especially when you're a team like Oklahoma that's had so many gut-wrenching finishes.
They played Nebraska within 6 early in this season. That was probably a sign of things to come. Oh, wait, baseline jam against his former club. First field goal for Otega Oweh.
And a good job turning one down from the perimeter. When he catches that thing on the go, it's as athletic as anybody in the country.
Ilya Tontsev bounces back from the air ball 3, and it's a little jump hook. He's only missed 1 shot at the rim this season for Oklahoma. Oweh guarded by Brown on the left wing as Aberdeen tries to work. Diabate, no good. Sooners looking to reclaim the lead. We've already had 3 lead changes in this game, and Forsythe puts them ahead.
Well, he had a really promising freshman year, has been cold in SEC play, but a really good shot there, a nice decision in Reed.
Aberdeen has it ripped away. Here comes Xavier Brown the opposite direction. 4-on-4. Brown got caught on the block. Davis playing on the offensive end with some confidence.
That's where I think you got to push here for Kentucky. Oklahoma wants to make this a little bit slower pace game.
Hard foul from Ilya Tontsev on Diabate. To your point, Kentucky is 2nd in the country in points per possession on the break. They score 1.3 points per possession when they're allowed to run. And Diabate will finish his possession at the free throw line.
Anytime you talk to an opponent about Kentucky and the scouting report, the first thing they say is, well, we got to get back in transition. Take their transition game away. They're so athletic, so fast, that if you can make it a half-court game, you give yourself a chance. But this Kentucky team has been pretty good on the offensive rebounding end. So you've got to make them one and done. Your first shot defense should be okay in the half court, but can you finish the possession?
Fan favorite Trent Noah on the floor for the first time tonight. Meanwhile, for Oklahoma, Koala Tak, who's played less than a minute over the last 5 games, is getting some first half run. Part of the plan for Porter Moser to try and get a little bit deeper. They are 259th in the country in bench points per game at 19.5. Diabate slips the second one in.
And to your point, Oklahoma's struggles have been in the second half, late game. And he's like, you know what? We just got to not have fatigue be such a negative factor to us. Can we steal some minutes in the first half so our guards are fresh down the stretch?
It's like you reversing your quarter zip to get a couple more wears out of it. Just keep it fresh. Here's Wagee.
We're going to tell anybody.
Nah, let it go. 6 on the shot clock. Walkwo penetrates, lost his footing, lost the basketball. Garrison thinks better of leading the break. Diabate into the corner for quick three, and that's good for Jasper Johnson. What a start for Kentucky. 5 of 8 from deep. Safe to say the 5 that Kentucky has on the floor right now in a key game is not the 5 they expected to be playing together much this year. Reed in the paint for 2.
I think both teams have made some tough shots. It's been Oklahoma's 2s versus Kentucky's 3s so far in this game.
Cats 5 of 8 from deep. Oklahoma 6 of 8 from inside the arc. Here's Aberdeen again. And Noah tracks it down. He was a fantastic rebounder in the win at Bud Walton Arena. Kid from Harlan can't knock it down from 3, but another offensive rebound.
And just too many opportunities if you're Oklahoma. You got the shot you wanted, but can you get and collect the defensive rebound?
Late in the shot clock again. Diabate's got 4 on it. Spin move, baseline, layup. And that'll take us to a break. Ball is kicked out of bounds after it went through the hoop.
Oweh, one of the most exciting athletes in the SEC. Watch him just catch this thing on the run. One dribble outside the paint, easy flush. And then Jasper Johnson says, I couldn't catch and stick. How about I give you a little step back and said, cash money.
About that uniform, I spent 2 years there. It's not just last year. I'm gonna be fired up again tonight. And we asked Mark Pope about it. He said, listen, it was one of the most fascinating second halves I've ever seen. But the first half, he was a disaster. And I said, what was that? Just shooting wise? Or he said, no, on the court, off the court, in timeouts, pregame, in the huddle, everywhere. And Ortega told us today after shoot around, he said, I always think of halftime as being an opportunity to hit the reset. And boy, did he.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And nobody remembers really anything except did you win the game and how did you finish? Of course, they don't remember unless Tom Hart brings it up a year later.
Here's Chandler off the errant pass from Johnson. Chandler, nifty pass to Brandon Garrison for the dunk.
That is a terrific find by Chandler. He drove hard right, drew 2 defenders, and a nice dump off.
Nigel Pack shakes Noah around the curl. Garrison has the rebound. Kentucky has a 4-point lead, looking to add to it.
And a good job by Kentucky, forcing Pack off the 3-point line. You want to make him beat you from 2, not 3.
Johnson in the lane. Sooners get a key stop. And now Tate Davis, who got Oklahoma off to a great start in this one. Here's Brown. Got it.
Yeah, you got to locate him if you're Kentucky. I mean, he's one of 2 players that can really beat you from deep on the court right now.
And he's shooting 43% from the top of the key. That's 10 percentage points higher than anywhere else on the floor. Chandler in the corner. And Noah collects another rebound. Garrison. And a whistle with the ball on the rim. See who that one will go against. Saturday night, it's an ACC, SEC, and Big 12 triple header on ESPN. Duke and Carolina gets things started 6:30 Eastern. That's a top 15 showdown. And then Tennessee will be here. There'll be some denim in the building. Mark Pope said, yes, indeed, he has a special outfit he'll be rocking on the sideline. And then Houston and BYU to close things out 10:30 Eastern on ESPN. Did you see the throwback Converse they had out for practice today?
Yes, I did. I liked what you asked Coach Pope. You know, I mean, do you embrace this? Do you want to be part of the show? He's like, look, the show's going to go on with or without me, but I might as well participate a little bit. We'll see what he's wearing.
You think he'd look good in denim head to toe to match those old denim unis?
I think if you can keep this win streak going, you can wear anything on the sidelines here at Kentucky.
Glad they never had Speedo uniforms. Cats lead by 3. Kentucky has knocked down 5 of 11 from 3. Meanwhile, Oklahoma has made 7 of 9 from 2.
The problem is Oklahoma has been able to force Kentucky to miss 11 shots, but the Wildcats have gotten 7 offensive rebounds off those misses. Oklahoma is not deep in their front court. They're small in the back court, but they've got to find a way to put bodies on bodies and finish those possessions.
Davis leads the Sooners here early on with 9 points on 4 of 6 shooting, all of those from 2. Here's Pack, shakes Olway. And now Xavier Brown to Elliott Thompson, gets it back. 8 on the shot clock, pump fake and a block. And on the second one, a whistle against Kentucky. It's the first, Mohamed Diabate. And it sends Darion Reed to the free throw line. 73% from the line on the season. He was a McDonald's All-America coming out of prolific prep and started his college career at Alabama. Went to the Elite 8 with Alabama. And he has really turned it on as of lately. Some of his highest scoring games in his career, 7 of them, have come in the last 17 games.
Yeah, when you're guarding 35, you got to know he's looking for his. He averages only 1 assist per game, so you've got to be ready to defend and to do so without fouling.
A 2-2-1 look for Oklahoma. Now they go to man as the ball comes across midcourt. Into Moreno. Heft advantage at Elliott Thompson, but he walked with it. That'll take us to break. Sooners hanging in there, out shooting Oklahoma from the floor early on by 11 percentage points. OU and Kentucky, first game inside Rupp for the Sooners since 1987. Race, Cats, Hogs, Vandy, and Tennessee. What a year it's been already in the SEC, and we're just taking our second lap around starting tonight. Oklahoma shooting 53% from the floor, but the Sooners have only made 2 threes. A little late getting to the offense here with 4 on the shot clock. Forsythe off the glass and rebounded by Kentucky. 7 assists on 8 buckets for the Cats. Johnson steps all the way through. Nobody stops the basketball.
Not the prettiest transition play, but I'm glad Chandler has some big-time hops. Caught that high pass, able to save it, and Johnson attacks the rim.
Porter Moser at practice today, working through their defenses and using the clock. He said, we've just got to find some ways to confuse Kentucky a few times. Chandler with the rebound. Oklahoma came in here heavy underdogs, having lost 8 in a row. Chandler creating some space, gets whistled for the push-off. Forsythe went flying.
He likes to shoot from 3 or get all the way to the rim, does Chandler. So Forsythe does a nice job cutting him off here and getting this push off. In fact, Chandler, based on my research, that huge mid-range, nice fadeaway turnaround jumper that he had at Arkansas late in that game, that's the only mid-range shot he's made all year. So as a defender, you know that he wants to get all the way to the cup if you can take away the 3 ball.
Cats showing a little bit of pressure. They've saved the legs of Pack. That one partially blocked. Pack and Brown with the play of Forsythe tonight. Aberdeen run out. Lob. Oh, that would have been something. But the loose ball ends up with the Sooners. Here's Pack again. And that one will find its home. First bucket of the night for Nigel Pack.
That's a huge 5-point swing. Moreno did a terrific job blocking the shot, running 94 feet, beating most of the guards down the court, just could not corral that alley-oop.
Chandler left open. Captain Clutch throws it in. Cats with a 3-point lead. Back again behind McGee. Into the corner, quick release, Darian Reed. Aberdeen finds Moreno. 7-foot freshman fouled. And he'll be at the free throw line.
So when you're guarding a three-point shooter, you want to try to stay attached to him. You want to be right attached. But watch the path that Pack takes. Pack is going to go up through the middle here. Go ahead and play it from there. Watch him stay attached. He's going to bust through that window, and that gives Chandler the opportunity to get an open look.
Moreno knocks down the first free throw. Wonkwo returns for Oklahoma. Zane, how about the play of Malachi Moreno, freshman from just down the road in Georgetown, Kentucky? The plan was to have Jaden Quaintance, one of the biggest pickups in the portal, to be the 5-man this season for Kentucky, even coming off of a torn ACL. He's basically been unavailable all year, and Moreno, as a true freshman, has carried the load.
He's been a steady force. 2 blocks per game in conference play, and we know their ceiling's a little bit lower offensively for this Kentucky team, but they always felt like their defense still had potential, and he's been a big reason why they're off to this great start in SEC play.
They thought they're going to have a Ferrari. They've got a Volvo. Nothing wrong with the safety record. Very dependable.
Hey, these Wildcats get the job done, and even when there is a blip and you count them out, it seems like they just bring their best the very next time on the court.
Oweh plays with it in front of Wagee. And now pull up 3. Got it. Otega Oweh. Something about seeing that crimson on the other side.
Shows you the confidence he's playing with. Really not his strength. An off the bounce 3-point shot.
Reed unable to knock down an open 3, and it goes out of bounds. Reed is 0 for 2 from deep. Sooners just 3 for 11 from 3.
And I think if you're Oklahoma, you say, guys, stick with the game plan. This is what we want. Oweh makes this shot, and you hate to give up the 3. But at the same time, you've made Kentucky shoot 13 of their 22 shots from beyond the arc, and you got to think the law of averages will kick in. But right now, Oweh, he wasn't playing with a ton of confidence early this season. He had that turf toe injury, held him out a little bit in the fall, got off to a slow start. But, man, is he playing with a ton of confidence when it matters most.
He is one of the best finishers in college basketball. He's got a linebacker's body. He's getting to the rim again. And Forsythe with the block. Forsythe leading Oklahoma the other way from small school Dale High School in Oklahoma, where they won 3 consecutive 2A state championships. He will tee it up. Oh, a pump fake on Garrison. Then he took a shot from Yelovich right at the jaw. That'll send us to a break. Kentucky leads by 5. They might take an extended look at this one. It'll be Sooners ball when we return to Lexington. And Austin, both available like everything else on the ESPN app. And at the half, Zubin will tell you if Alabama has scored 100 just as many times as Gonzaga has since Nate Oates took over as head coach. Here's Forsythe at the free throw line. He scored over 2,200 points during his Oklahoma prep career, and he had a good shooting season last year, playing for the Dale Pirates. Dale, Oklahoma, population 300.
Well, and if you told me, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to draw a comparison. If there were a Harlan, Oklahoma, it would be Dale. Like Forsythe and Trent Noah are about the same kind of guy from small towns, basketball crazy hotbeds, now playing for their home state school.
I love it. If you would have told me before the game Forsythe would come in off the bench, have 7 points, and have a block on Oweh at the rim, I would have said you're crazy, but he's come in and played well.
Here's Chandler. Back to Aberdeen. Turns it into a mid-range, and the floater is short. Oweh off the mark. And Oklahoma with the run out the other way. They don't push it very often. Looking for a transition bucket. That 3 is short. Didn't have any air underneath it. So to Mark Pope's point about finding their roles, here's Chandler with the drive and the floater. So Denzel Aberdeen came here as a 2. Then he got in a position where he was playing some point. And then it got to the point in the season after the injury to Jalen Lowe, where there was no question what position he was playing. And those defined roles have gone a long way to Kentucky finding some rhythm, although they are off the mark the last couple of possessions.
0 turnovers for Aberdeen in that big win on the road at Arkansas. So it shows you his calming influence he's had on this Kentucky team, despite missing that bunny at the rim right there.
Slow start for Nigel Pack, so he finds Wankwo in the corner. And the offensive rebound is ripped away by Aberdeen. 5-on-4 for the Cats. Chandler left open. 3-ball. Got it! Cats lead by 6. 2:16 left in the first half.
Kentucky has been red hot from 3, 8 of 15. They have had 5 different guys make a three-pointer. 3 guys have multiple triples, and it's been all over the place. Sometimes off the assist, sometimes off the bounce. And Forsythe with one of the answers there, but it has definitely been Kentucky 3 balls that have dominated this first half against Oklahoma's 2s. And that time Chandler rewards himself with that because he created that steal on the other end with the quick hands, knocking the ball away from Wagi, getting that live ball turnover, sprinting the floor. And man, the balanced offense right now from Kentucky, not anybody over 6, but 4 different guys with 6 points.
You know, we were here for that Missouri loss, and I left that game thinking Missouri is a team that has very defined roles. It was Missouri's first ever win inside Rupp Arena. And Kentucky looked like a team early in conference play where they didn't know who was supposed to be the leader, who was supposed to be at any specific position, and they looked lost that night. With 3 on the shot clock, Pack has it skip off the rim.
And one of the roles here is 23 and white. Diabate, I like where he's at right now, coming off the bench, doing what brought him value in the first place, being a junkyard dog, a glue guy type player, getting a bunch of offensive rebounds. What you were referring to earlier in the year, they were playing a lot through him, and he hadn't been in that role before. And I think now Kentucky is better off, as is Diabate, doing what he did at Alabama.
3 to shoot for Chandler. Sidesteps Pack, and he rains it right on top of him. Talk about playing with confidence. Meanwhile, Oklahoma hasn't made a bucket in 4 minutes. Davis went for the poster. Chandler challenged. Here come the Cats the other way, leading by 9. Largest lead of the game for Kentucky. Sooners need a stop in the worst way now. Cats will run the clock again. Kentucky has scored the last 6. Diabate fits it in. Clock is rolling. It's unaware of Xavier Brown. He didn't know it had already kept rolling. And Brown will get the play call. They will hold for the final with the shot clock off. Ten left in the half. Brown. Chandler closed out on Pack, took that away. Here's Davis, fade away from the elbow. Chandler the rebound and the heave. Oh my goodness, what would have happened? They would have melted all the snow in Lexington, and that one gone in. 8-0 run to close the half for Kentucky. A season-high 9 threes in the first half, and Colin Chandler was an inch away from throwing this one in three-quarter court. Unbelievable. Almost as unbelievable as what happened in the Big Ten tonight. We'll have Zubin and Sean break that down for you in the studio. 43-32 our score at the half at Rupp.
they had at Arkansas. I mean, this team is really coming together. Multiple guys playing with elite confidence right now.
So there's Nigel Pack, who only has 3 points in the first half. Porter Moser did a fantastic job of getting rest for both Xavier Brown and Nigel Pack. They may not get much here in the second half. Does Pack have a monster second half in him would be the question, is whether or not Oklahoma can come back in this one.
That is a big question. I think also Oklahoma defensively, if I'm Coach Moser, I say, guys, we're going to stick with the plan. Kentucky was 9 of 16. If they go 18 for 32 from 3 and we're contesting those, so be it. Tip of the cap. But they just know that they can't defend right here. I mean, that's where Kentucky's good at, and Oklahoma is the weakest in the conference at defending the 2. So the Sooners got to keep trusting the game plan, making Kentucky shoot threes.
So Moreno going to the free throw line. Second personal on Muhammad Wagi. And Malachi Moreno, McDonald's All-America. Kentucky Mr. Basketball won a state championship his senior year at Great Crossing High School just down the road. Some of the other Mr. Basketballs from the state they've had come here include the great Goose Givens, just a couple of feet sitting away from us. John Pelfrey, Richie Farmer, Darius Reed, of course Rex Chapman.
It shows you the confidence this coaching staff has to draw up a play for Moreno as the first play of the second half to try to establish some paint touches.
Davis and Forsythe, the unlikely scoring producers tonight. Half of Oklahoma's points, it's usually falling on Pack and Brown. Davis got off to a red hot start, and Forsythe hit some in the latter half of the first stanza. Here's Davis shot a shake and bake. Wow, Tay Davis going to work.
Wow, I mean, to have that crossover move right there in the paint, that was like a cone drill.
Now here's Owe again, and another finish at the rim for Otega Owe.
Those aggressive rip throughs, and you know, I think he's one of those players too that's benefited from the change in the block charge rule. When you go flying in there off of 1 foot because the defender has to be there so early, you rarely get that secondary defender coming over for charges. And watch him rip this thing through. 2 dribbles, take off. You know, a couple years ago, somebody sliding over there trying to take a charge. Here's Davis. Ooh, nice little in and out. Really nice move. He got off to a hot start at the beginning of this game, did Davis.
Otega always shooting 65% at the rim. We're talking to him today about being a great finisher, and he said, you know, I wasn't always this chiseled. I had a bigger body, a little hefty. He said, I knew how to throw it around. And I asked him, I said, what would you teach a young high schooler about how to become a great finisher? He said, that's easy. Play a lot of one-on-one, two-on-two, where you have to get to the rim and you have to finish to get a bucket. Iliatansev with a block touch, and he left it short at the end of the shot clock.
Kentucky's offense was red hot to end that first half, but it was also their defense. I mean, they held Oklahoma without a field goal for the last 4 minutes.
Going to get Tate Davis with the foul, his 3rd personal. And Andrea Yelovich will go to the free throw line. Andrea Yelovich is a sophomore from Zagreb, Croatia. He came from Mega Superbet.
And watch where this cut comes from, the top of the key. That's just a terrific job of not just staring at the post player and recognizing when your defender's ball watching. High IQ there.
Well, he was playing on the only amateur team in the Adriatic League last year with a host of other D1 signees. Look at these guys represented all over the country: Miami, Mississippi State, Auburn, and Petrovich at Illinois. He said, we were the only amateur team, and most of those guys were only there 1 season. Yelovich was there 2, and 2 years ago they finished in the top 3rd of the league. He said it was the best finish Superbet had ever had, playing against much older and more distinguished professional players in the Adriatic League.
That was a squad right there, and that's part of the debate going right now, is the international players playing professionally and how their eligibility gets ruled, not necessarily always an apples to apples thing, and how to try to commission that a little bit between what the international standard is versus the American-born players.
Yelovich commits his 2nd. Of course, remember Big Z, Zvonimir Vucic, now at Illinois with his twin brother. They played in the same league. And also from Croatia. Maybe it's not apples to apples. Maybe over there it's apples to oysters, because they say they have the best oysters in the world. Ball fake and nowhere to go for Ilya Tontsev. Here's Forsythe. Moreno kept it alive. Yelovich found it. Otega-Oweh rolling downhill. Chandler. Foul and going to the line. They get Xavier Brown. Be the first on Brown. Saturday night, ACC, SEC, and Big 12 tripleheader on ESPN. 6:30 Eastern. Tobacco Road, the site. They'll be inside the Dean Dome for number 4 Duke and 14th ranked North Carolina. Then Big Orange comes here after blowing a 17-point lead at home against Kentucky in their meeting earlier this season. 8:30 Eastern on ESPN. Jimmy and Ravi have that one, and we finish off with Houston and BYU. And last time I looked, BYU was struggling on the road in Stillwater.
I'm anxious to see that rematch of Tennessee coming into Rupp Arena, trying to get revenge. You talk about a team bonding moment. Yes, Kentucky had that thriller buzzer beater against LSU on the road, but to have that big of a comeback in Knoxville the way they did, I got to think that Coach Pope and this staff would say, hey, that was the moment that we knew we could be okay with the roster we have.
It may have been the moment some of the Big Blue faithful also felt a little bit better about this season after some early struggles. Mentioned BYU tied at the half, and Gallagher-Iba with Oklahoma State. A.J. Debonsa has 18 in the first half.
We'll go back to this Kentucky team that's known for getting themselves down at halftime, but I'd rather be known as the guy that comes back from halftime deficits as opposed to the guy that blows halftime leads. So he can do it either way, could Coach Pope. He could, if he's winning at the half, you don't have much of a chance of coming back on him. But if he's down, Wildcats still have a chance.
Well, it goes back to the old Dale Brown quote. After they blew the lead against Kentucky, he said, what, aren't we getting credit for being up 30?
That's right. I wish it worked that way, Coach.
8 for Darian Reed. Sooners down a couple of touchdowns here. They've had a couple of massive comebacks against them. Do they have one in them? And it will likely be Nigel Pack who will have to lead the way.
Just different parts of the game for Oklahoma. They hadn't been able to put 40 minutes together. Typically they're right in there at halftime, but the close of that first half has really hurt them here on the road.
That's Oweh behind the screen, and he threw the 3 goggles right in the face of Darian Reed.
And he was shooting under 20% from 3 over his last 5 games. So even though he was scoring a lot and playing with confidence, to see him hit threes, now he's playing like the best player in the SEC right now.
Attack with the turnover. Otega-Oweh, preseason player of the year.
Yeah, I mean, with that step back 3, he's seeing a huge rim right now. We've got a lot of talented players in this league. But don't forget not only what he's done offensively on the ball. He had a really nice performance against Darius Acuff, who is up there for a player of the year opportunity here in the SEC. Oweh probably a better on-ball defender than off-ball, but improving in all areas. And where would this Kentucky team be without his offensive firepower?
Well, it's got to drive you crazy if the Oklahoma staff, because you're certain some of these scouting reports on the Kentucky shooters saying, oh, it's okay to go under, especially against a guy like Oweh, who you don't want to drive. And then he rises and drills a 23-footer. And now he's fouled on a 3 by Xavier Brown, and Otega-Oweh going to the free throw line. 10 makes from deep for Kentucky out of the 16 field goals they've made tonight. Otega-Oweh 73% from the free throw line. Former Sooner, spent 2 years there, 9 starts as a freshman, and then 21 his second season. And Porter Moser was so incredibly proud of the job the Sooner staff did even finding Otega-Oweh. And Otega admitted to us today, after Porter talked about that great EYBL Peach Jam final, loaded with talent. Otega-Oweh bursts onto the scene in that one single game. And Ortega said, yeah, I wasn't really a big name until that contest.
Yeah, that really raised his recruitment level. Oklahoma, Coach Moser said, look, a lot of people knock the fact that, yeah, he doesn't really have a great shot from outside, but all I saw was the fact that nobody could stay in front of him. He was a straight line driver, and when he got to the rim, nobody was able to stop him. He could finish through contact, and you see how explosive he's been at the college level. And he's great at going right. When you talk to him, what's your favorite play? He said, look, I love getting that dribble handoff going right downhill. But as teams have forced him to go left, I think he's also shown the ability, maybe not as explosive, but still finish on that side of the basket.
He has scored 20 in 7 of 9 conference games. It's the most in the league. That Beach Jam final was Bradley Beal against team final. Brandon Miller, Nick Smith at 31 in that game. Derek Lively, Jalen Duran, who was the #1 prospect at the time, or a big prospect. 5-on-4 for the Cats. Here's Aberdeen. Pump fake and left it short. And Brown finds it. Cherry picking was Elliot Thompson, and he takes the easy deuce. And Denzel Aberdeen is injured. That'll send us to a timeout. Aberdeen immediately tended to by the athletic training staff. This is where it happened. After the pump fake, he took a bop in the noggin right about there. Easy one for OU on the other side.
He couldn't wait to post that one.
There's a Kentucky fan, Donnie Cornett, who held on to a letter he wrote to Rick Pitino since '92, and Pitino read the letter. That's a great viral moment that just hit lately. His one sentence quote to Coach Pitino: just guard the guy throwing it in.
It's that simple, right?
Here's Garrison with 5 on the shot clock. He just shoved his way down to the rim.
Big advantage down low there. Had the mismatch, and good job for Kentucky identifying it.
I don't know if there's one single player on this Kentucky roster who, after the injuries and finding more playing time, has taken more advantage of it than Brandon Garrison, because he was in the doghouse for a while earlier this year, especially after loafing a couple of times in non-conference play.
I think one of the areas he can really help this team, and has continued to, is just being a great screener. And I thought he, with 3 assists in that Arkansas game, threw a backdoor pass to Oweh. Remember, Amari Williams was a point center. He won't necessarily be that, but can you operate in that 5-out offense?
Meanwhile, Denzel Aberdeen is back in the locker room. Athletic trainer Brandon Wells took him back there after he took an elbow to the top of the head on a possession right before the timeout. Diabate with his second personal.
A little bit of a frustration foul by Diabate. I think he's got to really learn to go up when he has angles. When he's got to do multiple pump fakes and doesn't get the guy off the ground, that might be a time to kick it back out and run some more offense. He forces some tough twos down there.
Oklahoma down 17. They're operating without Nigel Pack, who is capable of a big half, but not when he's on the bench. He had 18 in the second half against Mizzou. Forsythe kicks into the corner. Atuk got it. Attack, pardon me, with his first bucket of the night. There's Nigel Pack. He gives him 16 a game. Is coming off of a 23-point game. He only has 3 this evening.
I love the raise of applause here at Kentucky. Not many arenas with a 14-point lead are trying to tell their team, hey, we've got a sense of urgency. We need to score here. This is getting too close.
Jasper Johnson with the foul, and Xavier Brown is trying to stretch out that left leg at midcourt. Yelovich will return.
The right call. He got bumped on his way to the loose ball there, did Brown. And we talked a lot about the spurtability Pack has in his 3-point shooting, but Brown He can go off at any time as well, averaging 16 a game. So he's going to take a little bit of rest after that bump, though.
Pack left wide open. Can't leave that dude open.
Total miscommunication that time as both Kentucky defenders rolled with the big, and all of a sudden 11-point game.
Here's Chandler. Talk about the roles that have been found by this Kentucky team. There was a point where Colin Chandler was the lead guard. And now, as Mark Pope says, he's much comfortable in this role. Pack. Sooners have scored the last 8. That one is off of Oklahoma. How combustible could Nigel Pack be offensively with Sooners down 11?
Yeah, that was a pretty clean look there, and especially after he just made the one prior, you thought that was going to be back-to-back. And for Kentucky, they've been pretty focused about getting the ball inside. They've gone to the line 9 times here in the second half and really resisted that 3-ball. Just one 3-point attempt as Garrison puts it in there.
Meanwhile, on the Oklahoma bench, trainer Seth Tisdale just put a wrap on the left knee of Xavier Brown, who was injured on that collision at midcourt and what could have been a breakaway. Pack gets another touch. Picked up by Garrison. 5 for Forsythe. Forsythe can't get free. He's got to heave it. And Otega Oweh tracks down the rebound. Cats with a push. Oweh downhill. Nifty move. Timeout Oklahoma. The lead is back to 15.
Otega Oweh shows you his elite athleticism. Keep it in the middle of the floor. Knives through the defense. Otega Oweh, Rupp Arena on their.
Meanwhile, on the Oklahoma side, they're thrilled to have Xavier Brown back on the floor after he had his knee wrapped after leaving a few minutes ago. Now working on Oweh, and Garrison jumps the passing lane.
Garrison talk a little bit of trash to a talk there as the officials give a warning. If he does get a technical, that usually means good things for the Kentucky record based on your research, right? Well,
yeah, 9-0 when he gets a flagrant or a technical.
Yeah, so you might want to go get one, number 10, just to play it safe.
And that one finds its home for Kual Atak, who's hit 2 threes in this game.
Well, he's got some confidence from 3. He's not been the best defender for Oklahoma, but neither have the rest of them. So Coach Moser said, come on, let's put him in.
How did that pass from Oweh find it to Garrison? He was falling down to whip it inside the paint. We got a timeout on the floor. The bucket counts after basket interference. It's a 63-49 Kentucky lead. That can't be true. He said, no, right here. Here's the text. I want to make sure I've got the jersey. I get it signed, and I can hang that bad boy up. 27 Kentucky players in the NBA at the start of the season. 5 of them all-stars. And that 10-time all-star Anthony Davis got dealt today. Guess that Mavs situation didn't really work out, huh?
No, it didn't. It'd be interesting to see what happens in Washington, even though there are injured stars. But don't forget, Trae Young got sent up there as well. So Trae Young, Anthony Davis up in Washington.
Brown with the drive, and he spins it off the glass and in. First bucket, second half for Xavier Brown. Brown told me after shoot around today when his St. Joe's team came in here a couple of years ago, they were excited to have the opportunity to play in Rupp, but they didn't back down. They took Kentucky to overtime. Johnson off the mark. And Garrison gets it, and he gets fouled. Brandon Garrison into double figures. Nigel Pack with the personal foul.
And this all goes back to the effort that Yelovich has for this offensive rebound. When you see how much attention he attracts, look at 4 and White. He's going to go after this thing, battle 2 different Sooners for it. And because he brings that much attention and fight towards that offensive rebound, ultimately this loose ball falls in Garrison's hands for an easy and one.
Garrison, a 23 Gatorade Oklahoma Player of the Year coming out of Del City. Started his college career at Oklahoma State. He was a McDonald's All-American, All-USA team, the Jordan Brand team. Cowboys had a run there where they're getting all sorts of big-name recruits. Yelovich with the rebound.
Yelovich putting up some nice numbers in this game. 9 points, 6 boards, 3 assists. And again, he's shown you the ability to continue to shoot that 3 consistently in conference play.
Chandler with the turnaround. He's got 13 tonight.
Well, you can tell Coach Pope has said, guys, I know we shut it well from 3 in the first half, but we're not going to live and die by that. Just 2 3-pointers here in the second half as they have been committed to getting to the paint.
Another bucket for Brown. Won a Catholic League title at Roman Catholic in Philadelphia. They played that championship game in the Palestra. That was one of the other favorite places that he's played, in addition to Rupp. And now Davis with his 4th personal. Excuse me, they got McGee for his 3rd.
That shows you how hard it is to guard Otega Owe. And Coach Moser told us that earlier today. He said, you can't retreat when you're guarding him. When he sees that space, he's just going to go into you and he's going to spin on you. And he's so fast and straight line, even with his spin, that you're just toast if you don't get into his body and meet him with contact.
You think there's some contact in the driveway court for Otega and his brother Adafe, who played linebacker at Penn State, now in the NFL?
Yeah, I think that's the other part of his story about learning to finish through contact and playing one-on-one and all that is I don't think anybody's letting you call any weak fouls in that driveway.
Otega Owe has a Kentucky high 13 dunks this season. And he's made a living at the free throw line as well. Now 5 of 7 from the stripe tonight. The 1-2-2 for the Cats.
Yeah, even though 17 points for Owe, it's felt like a really balanced attack, hadn't it, for Kentucky? I mean, multiple guys.
Another 3. Attack has 3 of them tonight.
Yeah, you talk about staying ready for your opportunity. His number was called here in Rupp Arena after playing sparingly in SEC. 3 triples.
Yeah, only 53 seconds in the last 5 games for Attack coming into tonight. Here's Garrison. He's having a nice night. 1 point away from his Kentucky high. Chandler to Owe. Owe dances with it, muscles his way in.
And that's the exact way you should play him. Davis a much better job of making him spin through contact, not space.
Another one off the mark for Attack. Iliatansev with the board. Forsythe beats Johnson baseline. And Brandon Garrison with the rebound. And when he tried to push it ahead, he got fouled. Second on Iliatansev. Kentucky's made 5 of 7 from the floor. They're shooting 51% in this game, and the Cats are at 56% from 3. Chandler takes a seat. Noah replaces him. Diabate on the floor to replace Yelovich.
That helps them too with their depth, with Trent Noah coming in. I mean, this is a guy that is a great stick with it example. First 6 SEC games included 3 DNPs and 7 total minutes. And over the last 3, he's averaged 16 and had that big game with 7 rebounds, career high on the road at Arkansas. And so the more Coach Pope can trust that bench and keep those stars fresh, the more dangerous this Kentucky team will be.
Baker's dozen for Garrison, his new Kentucky career high. Brown guarded by Owe. Oklahoma on its way to its 9th consecutive loss. Barring a big comeback here in the last 8:40.
Nice job by Owe. Kentucky does like to switch some. They didn't mean to on that one, but he got stuck on the big and held his own.
Garrison wanted a touch, didn't get it. A 3 off the mark from Diabate. He had made one in conference play. Here's Owe. 10 to shoot. Oweh able to gather after stumbling a bit. May have taken a shot to the head. He's got another big game with 19.
Just good job getting in there off 2 feet, under control, finishing on the other side of the basket.
Brown buries it from the corner.
A little bit of a short closeout by Oweh. Almost dared him to shoot it, even though he had a hand up.
Good touch into the corner for Noah. Mountain Mamba can't close it out. Brown with a burst. Noah got a piece of it. Here comes Kentucky the other way. Garrison leading the break. And he takes it all the way himself, but left it short. Cats have a 14-point lead, 7:04 to go. Kentucky looking for its 11th win in the last 14 games. 10 threes tonight. They've made 10 of 20. All Kentucky tonight at Rupp. The only thing wrong in Lexington is they haven't cleared the roads yet. The WCC a pair. You still with us, Dane?
I'm here.
Okay, good.
Not bad.
Kentucky.
We were doing another Big Ten thing off of that, actually.
Well, we changed our mind. You wanted to talk Keaton Wagler. We did not quite make it there. But you know what? It's a 14-point game. You can talk about whatever you want. Yeah. Here's Garrison. He's looking for a double-double. Nice touch and a little jump ball. Not bad for the Del City product out of Oklahoma City. He's got 15.
This is where Kentucky, again, they'll switch 1 through 5, and they're doing so more effectively here over the past few games. It's one thing to guard, or excuse me, to switch. It's can you rebound your matchup when you switch, and that's where it puts a lot of pressure on the guards to hold their own down low.
Mismatch inside, and the block, but a foul before that. It'll be Jasper Johnson who gets whistled for his second.
Well, Mark Pope just rubs his head and walks away. I think he's trying to avoid going back-to-back games with the technical. I'm not sure he felt like he earned the last one there. And he was very humble about it when we asked him about the technical fouls. He said, look, we want to break records here at Kentucky. And if 3 technicals in 38 seconds, all separate incidents, is a record, then by gosh, I guess we'll have it. But yeah, I love this quote about those technical fouls, though, because they weren't techs about, hey, ref, you didn't call that foul, I'm mad. It was, you see it here. I felt like it was coming from exactly the right place in our team, that we are searching for that core of like fight. And then whatever else it said at the end there, we took the graphic away. But I agree with it. It was, hey, we're here to win. And I loved his response on that.
Aberdeen back on the floor for Kentucky for a minute there. Looked like he had just walked out of Rosebuds with one eye open. Loose ball, lost underneath. 7 on the shot clock, and tempers bubbling. Davis will be escorted back. And Mark Pope quickly out there to say to Brandon Garrison, we're okay. We've got a 15-point lead. We don't need to see you pick up another.
Well, he'll chirp it. He'll get under the opponent's skin. And I think it's all about what Coach Pope said in that postgame of, hey, guys, we got to keep it under control. Let that motivate us. We'll see if there's anything extra.
Did Davis throw him down? I don't think he did. I thought Garrison was already going down, and he gave him the old swim move.
Yeah.
Officials going to discuss, send the teams back to their respective corners.
I'm with you. There was a little bit of contact. I don't know that it was egregious or flagrant where he threw him down. But what I do like, if you're a Kentucky fan, is look, Garrison has 15 and 9. He's playing with a ton of energy, and he got under the opponent's skin early. And he and Davis were chirping earlier in this game. And when you can frustrate the opponent is the key and get under their skin. However, you got to make sure you don't get caught saying something, using wrong language, whatever it might be that could get your team a technical and cost some critical points in a game that doesn't have quite the margin we're looking at here.
Well, just yesterday here on campus, they had baseball and softball media day. Maybe he was referencing a certain pitch. 15-point lead for Kentucky. Great crew tonight. Will Howard has the headset on. Ron Groover and A.J. Desai.
Lip reading is not reviewable, by the way, in case you're wondering at home. Those cannot be challenged.
Ron Groover says we're just going to put the ball back in play. We got nothing. They'll make sure they got the clock right. By the way, busy week for you, Chris Collinsworth. You got the Super Bowl on Sunday.
I wonder how many tweets Chris Collinsworth's going to get during that game that say you sound exactly like Dane Bradshaw.
Kentucky's basketball, 20 on the shot clock.
Now 20 on the shot clock, so that's what the change was to get the clock right. Let's see if we can keep it clean the rest of the way. Diabate working on Davis.
Yeah, see, when he doesn't get an angle, he just kind of throws one up.
Shot.
Yeah. And I think his teammates need to cut and move without the basketball. When his first move or two doesn't work, you got to move instead of just watching him play one-on-one in the post. All right, Tay Davis does a nice job making sure he's not the first guy off the ground.
They got Garrison for the hold, by the way. You saw he had a hold of McGee's left hand. So McGee will go to the free throw line. You ever spent any time in jail?
No.
Because everybody's innocent, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody, I got framed, I didn't do it. That's what Garrison did. Like, what are you talking about? I did nothing. Like, he clearly had a hold of McGee's wrist, who gets his first point of the night.
It was an experience that really changed you, though. What?
Well, I didn't want to assume. I figured I'd ask.
You are the 1999 comeback story of the year that really never got talked about enough.
Well, let's leave that one in the archive, shall we?
All right, Kentucky needs another 2 minutes here of solid play, and they could probably put this one to bed. This is the Oklahoma team again. They're frustrated too, not just by Kentucky, but riding this 8-game losing streak where they've been close, just haven't been able to finish the job.
Chandler after the pump fake. Got it! Captain Clutch again.
He's got a really nice shot fake. He's made some great three balls off the bounce.
Davis with the step through. He's fouled, and then the ball gets batted by Diabate over to the front row.
Well, here's Colin Chandler, who's 5 of 10, 4 of 7 from deep. And just a nice little shot fake, reads the defender. Smart, high IQ player. We've seen the athleticism Chandler has. A couple Sports Center moments earlier this season, the way this kid can get up.
By the way, our dear friend Corey Price is scouring the internet right now looking for that arrest report that we just referenced 26 years ago. If
Don't believe everything you hear, folks.
If anybody could find it, he could. Tay Davis played for his dad, Dre, in high school at Warren Central in Indianapolis. He's got 14. Believe it on TV before I believe it on Facebook, right?
Right.
13-point Kentucky lead, under 5 to play. The Unpredictables having another great night on the hardwood. Ortega away from the corner. Another 20-point game for Tegatron.
He's got such a unique release. I mean, when he shoots that ball, he's got a little bit of a hitch right before he brings it up, but he's confident in it, and he's seen it go through tonight.
Brown having a big second half. It's his third three of the half. Oklahoma takes a quick timeout, trying to fight back in this contest. Otega-Oweh from the corner, Dane Bradshaw.
Yeah, he loves the corner spot, and especially catch and stick. Let's see a little hitch here, and cash money for Otega-Oweh. Shots in conference play, he's one of the best.
He's the best in power conference basketball, unguarded, and you say, okay, well, how often do you get unguarded shots? If you're a bad shooter in college, other coaches just will refuse to guard you on the perimeter.
Right.
We see it happen all the time. You cannot do that with Otega-Oweh. There are two other mid-major players on that list, but he is 8 of 11 from 3 when unguarded in league play. Sure, that's a small sample size. It doesn't happen that often, but it's proof that his shot has come a long way, even if it doesn't necessarily look pretty.
Well, and we've talked a lot about his offense, but you think back to making Acuff work for everything last game, and Nigel Pack has been pretty silent, hadn't gotten a lot of minutes as he normally does in this one, but part of that's Oweh. Nigel Pack was averaging 23 a game over his last 3, and he's got just 6 points in 25 minutes. So two-way player right now for Otega-Oweh.
Oweh lost the dribble. They got 2 to shoot. Stolen away by Davis. Davis to Xavier Brown. Yeah, what a half for Xavier Brown. He's had a couple of really good games here at Rupp. He had 17 when he came here with St. Joe's a couple of years ago.
Well, every time Kentucky would make a 3 or a big shot that felt like a dagger, Oklahoma would quickly come back with either a 3-point play or a 3, and now that brings it to 10.
Sooners have life late. Yelovitz trying to create some space, and McGee tracks it down. Xavier Brown has been the go-to guy. Last 13 games, he's over 18 points a game. And after a quiet first half, he has come alive in his second. McGee just waltzes down the lane for the dunk.
Wow. I mean, that is a defensive breakdown. Yes, you want to leave him open from 3, but you don't want to leave him open to drive all the way down the middle of the lane.
3:08 to play. Oklahoma has an 8-0 run over the last 122. And the Sooners are right back in this thing. They're hanging around late night at Rupp. Men's basketball quadruple header comes your way Saturday on the SEC Network starting at 1 Eastern. Highlighted by the Sooners heading to Memorial to take on 15th ranked Vandy. Coverage of that one begins at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central. Will the Sooners still be riding a losing streak, or can they snap it with a massive comeback here late? It's a Kentucky team that at one point led this game by 19 in the second half.
There's no quitting these Sooners, and credit to Coach Mosier. I mean, they have been in almost every game in SEC play. They've been right there. They come out playing with a ton of purpose and energy, and when they could have quit here on the road at Rupp, all they did was keep fighting, just like their coach has, and you can tell he's still got this locker room and team playing together.
Chandler has it rejected. There'll be 7 on the shot clock as they send Chandler into the cheerleaders. Xavier Brown has been the catalyst in the second half for Oklahoma. 14 of his points after intermission.
You've got to get a stop here. 7 on the clock. Be solid. Defend without fouling. Finish the possession with a rebound.
Aberdeen step back 3. That would have been massive. The rebound is, and Garrison gets it and 1. Brandon Garrison with his first double-double as a Wildcat, just the second of his career, and this might be the dagger.
And Brown knew it. He was doing his best to try to push the bigger Garrison out of the way. But like we talked about to start the game, the first shot defense might be there, but can you finish the possession? This is a smaller lineup. They don't have a lot of depth in the front court, and Garrison just takes advantage of them down low.
18 for Garrison, just 3 off of his career high. Pack still on the bench for OU. Brown cut off. Here's Brown. They left him open. They can't make him pay for it. Aberdeen is able to corral the loose ball. Good decision not to throw it way up court. He goes to Chandler. Early three, and Owe with the rebound and got tied up and then taken down. And Owe landed on his left elbow.
He came flying in there for that offensive rebound. Even though you're open in transition, I don't love that shot by Chandler. 11-point lead, run a little bit of clock. So Owe goes up here and really gets kind of yanked down. Arm gets tangled up there, and then you're right, that left elbow.
It's a fourth personal on Muhammad Wagi. Kentucky's head athletic trainer Brandon Wells has been kept busy tonight.
14 offensive rebounds for 17 second chance points. They'll look to add to that total here. And this is part of what is becoming Kentucky's identity on the offensive end. It might not always look pretty, but they got guys going to the glass. We talked about Mo Diabate today with Coach Pope. Right now, over the last 5 games, he's averaging one offensive rebound for every 7 minutes played. That's elite. He said, look, we track how many times you go after it aggressively in terms of not taking a play off and crashing. And he said Diabate ranks up there pretty high, near 100%.
I thought it was really interesting when you asked him that question. The reason they track it that way versus the results is you can't control the bounces. Sometimes it's going to hop a different direction from where you are. But some guys have a nose for it. Another one coming for Otega Owe. He had 27 last time they met. He's got 24 tonight. And the former Sooner is doing it to his old club one more time.
He probably won't have to be the hero in this one, but he's still the best player on the court like he was the last 2 times.
An Oklahoma turnover, just the 5th of the game, but a costly one nonetheless, down 13. Sooners going to pick him up full court. Nigel Pack's been sitting for a few minutes, and he checks in. Attack commits the foul. Well, Oklahoma going forward will have the toughest remaining schedule in the SEC. So a 9-game losing streak outside of a miraculous comeback here. And Kentucky has the 3rd toughest schedule going forward alongside Vanderbilt behind Porter Moser's squad.
Well, if you would have told me, Tom, when we were here against when Kentucky was playing against Missouri on January 7th, they dropped to 0-2. You knew the injury situation was not getting better. I would have never thought that this Kentucky team would be in the hunt for an SEC title, but they are right in the thick of it in a wide open SEC.
Tennessee here Saturday night on ESPN. Then they go to Gainesville for an ABC game. Georgia, one of the top scoring teams in the country, comes to town. I think it's a Tuesday night game. You and I will be here. That'll be a late night.
And if I'm Kentucky, I like that bye that they get in the middle of the week between the Tennessee and Florida game, because it is going to be so physical against Tennessee. You're going to need your ice bath and your training sessions and stretching and everything else to get ready for Florida, who's the top offensive rebounding team in the country.
72 second chance points against Alabama for Florida. 72.
If that doesn't send a message, I don't know what does.
Oklahoma's got 74 points in this game.
Yeah, I mean, there's teams that are big, and then there's Florida big. 3 through 5 with Thomas Houck playing at really an All-American type level at the 3, who was last year's 4.
Xavier Brown and I were talking about Houck today after shoot-around. He said, I know him from back in our Pennsylvania days. I had no idea that he could turn into such a skilled playmaker. There's Chandler again. He's got 18. 1 minute to play. This will take Kentucky's record to 7-3 in the league, 16-7 overall. Oklahoma will fall under 500, and this will be the 9th consecutive loss for the Sooners. They did get good news this week. They finally got clearance to start building their new arena, the North Campus at OU, the north side of Norman. Porter Moser said, I've been working my tail off for that. Outgoing athletic director Joe Castiglione as well. They had to fight their way through a bunch of city hall meetings and city council meetings.
That's huge news. I mean, a historic building, but the Jordan logo can only cover up so much, you know.
Lloyd Noble has seen better days. This will be in the Rock Creek Entertainment District. They're going to have an entire district built around that. This is the inside of the arena. They had a great crowd when we were there for the Arkansas game.
Well,
that was a snow day.
Yeah, exciting arena. If it goes like anything else I know in construction, it'll be over time and over budget.
Here's Chandler. They'll take over with 24. Chandler and Garrison with 18 apiece. Garrison with his first Kentucky double at 18 and 11. And Nigel Pack held to just 6 points tonight for OU. Turn around off the glass. Are you serious? Denzel Aberdeen.
He has missed some of the easiest shots in this game and made some of the more difficult ones.
Last gasp for OU, left short. Garrison wanted a touch. He will get it. And that will be the exclamation point. Crowd jumped into their sleds early to slide on home here in Lexington, and for good reason. And now Garrison can't help himself. Commits a foul with 1.3 remaining.
He's played to the finish, and I'm not sure if he knew the stat line or not, but I think he wanted that 20-piece there with that final dunk.
Well, this double-double, he's going to have to settle for 20-piece with escargot.
I think guys got to be careful late, and you know, a lot of times coaches are keeping in starters longer, like with all the metrics, the margin and everything else that goes into how much did you win by. But we saw Keyshawn Murphy for Auburn take a spill at the end of their win against Florida in a meaningless late dunk where he landed on his tailbone, popped right up, was okay, but just got to be careful late. Don't do anything silly.
Darion Reed with the point. Walked into Kentucky practice yesterday, and right off the bat they were playing 5-on-5, working up a lather and just going at it. That was part of Mark Pope's plan to get this team to get off to better starts throughout some of the sluggish starts in games, and man, has it paid off. And the Cats make it to 94. They hold Oklahoma without a field goal over the last 3-14, and after starting 0-2 in league play, the Chicken Littles thought the sky was falling down. After all, this is a pretty good Kentucky team that's now 7-3 in league play. Oklahoma drops its 9th consecutive. Once again, our final score. (94-78) Kentucky over Oklahoma. For Dane Bradshaw, our entire crew, I'm Tom Hart. So long from Lexington.